Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's open a beverage of your choice, because today is another episode of Frightful Fridays. Sorry about last week. I had a family emergency. I was out of town most of the week, didn't have time to watch a movie, nor the desire. Had some more important things to do, and just didn't really feel like doing it. But I'm back. And this week, I am going to be doing Black Friday. I think it's 1974, starring Olivia Hussey. I think she's best known for Romeo and Juliet back in the day. Margot Kidder, Lois Lane, Keir Dullea, he's been in a few movies, and then John Saxon. He's played a zillion different cops. I think probably one of the most famous roles was the cop father, the father and slash sheriff in Nightmare on Elm Street. It is set at Christmas, obviously, and that's why. And the little description says that it kind of originated or set up the slasher genre. And if that is the case, the slasher genre has come a long way since this movie came out. Okay, so the movie, it's set up in a sorority house where the girls are being stalked by a guy who is supposed to be killing them, or he's killing them. But there's not a whole lot of killing. The movie's like, it's R-rated, and about hour 40, it's like 4 people, 5. It moves at a very slow pace. Now, for certain types of movies, that is a good thing. Horror movies, there's a couple types of horror movies that you can do. Slow pace is good for one. Like Hell House LLC. Those aren't a lot. Those don't have a lot of action except at the end, but that's a slow build, a slow burn where you ratchet the tension up and ratchet the tension up and ratchet the tension up. Things happen, and it just slowly builds up. Other ones, like slashers, you get the setup, and then it's just boom, boom. It's supposed to be boom, 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 boom. And yes, I understand this is supposed to be an original one. The intentional or unintentional, original one. But okay, so what happens? You have these, college students who are pretty much really unlikable. A couple of them are meant to be unlikable. I guess, like Margot Kidder's character is a drunk and supposed to be like really unlikable. That's intentional. Olivia Hussey's character is, I guess she's supposed to be likable, but no. So they're at this house. It's Christmas Eve, of course, right around Christmas time, and they're getting these crank calls, these like dirty calls, and instead of just hanging out like any sensible person would do, they sit there and listen and are all horrified except for Margot Kidder, who eggs the person on. And then at the beginning, you see a POV shot of somebody climbing up into the attic, and the attic thing is important. They climb up from the outside. And then eventually he gets one of the girls. And she's missing. And I guess it's like a day or two later they actually call the cops saying, oh wait, she didn't leave. Her father was supposed to meet her at 1 o'clock that afternoon. He didn't, she didn't show up to that. And the cops are all like, oh, she's just hanging out with the guy that she's, dating. And all that. And they finally, the cops finally come around. You'd think they'd have him check the house. It's a 4-story house. Big attic. You'd think they'd check it. But then, then they keep getting, and the majority of the movies is about the relationship between the girls, and especially Olivia Hussey's character, whose name is Jessie, I think, and her strained relationship with her boyfriend because she's gotten pregnant and they're arguing over whether they want to keep the baby or not. Because I guess they're really trying to set up the boyfriend as the possible killer. And he's just a giant douche, but anyone who's watching the movie realizes that he wouldn't be the one doing it anyway. I mean, he's not doing it, but if you knew a guy like him, you'd say that guy wouldn't do something like that because he's a pussy. And so there's just police finally get involved with trying to look for the girl, because they're all just under the impression that the first girl is dead, but they haven't found her. Then a couple other people are missing, but they don't realize that the house mom is missing. She's supposed to have gone out to her sister's house. But the cops finally do the old, let's tap the phone thing. I have to remember this is 1974, no one has cell phones, and they have the old, if you're old enough like me, you remember the old rotary phones that take 3 days to dial a number. And so they had to do that, and houses would have could have multiple lines in the house, and it'd all be or multiple extensions in the house, and one phone picks up, and the other one picks up, they're all on the same line. So that's where, and then there's the old, the call is coming from inside the house thing. And it just, the finale doesn't happen until the last couple minutes of the movie. And even then, you're sitting watching it, and they still didn't bother to check a certain part of the house. That was the most frustrating part. It's like, dude, if these guys had... Anybody knows that if you're looking for somebody and there's a huge, especially where there's a person missing or there's a question as to whether they're still alive, maybe you might want to check the whole house. They checked the sub-basement, the basement down below. They were down there, but up in the attic. So yeah, and this movie was just... In 1974, I was 5 at the time. don't know how good movies were back then. I've seen a few, you know, back in the day, and I've watched older ones, but this one is just not. This was. I don't see how this is considered a classic. It wasn't very good. It was. It was. Excuse me, slow and not in the good way. It was kind of boring. The characters were unpleasant and not bright. And yes, I understand that it's a trope in horror movies. You know, you're just ignorant a lot of times. You just make bad decisions. But there's just simple little things that you do, like check the whole fucking house, or just hang up the phone and stuff like that. They can have people making smart decisions and still have a horror movie. I've seen horror movies where people make the right decisions and stuff, and they still get fucked up. Just don't take people's don't insult people's intelligence, and try and make a little bit more sympathetic characters. But this is neither here nor there, because you can't do anything about this one now. It's 50-something years old. But anyway, so yeah, I can't really recommend this movie. I'm going to give it a 1 out of 5. I mean, it's got some big names, I guess, before they were big. But you got to give it one credit. I guess it did inspire a whole new genre or subgenre of horror movies. So we have that to thank them for. But as for the movie itself, no. Like I said, a 1 out of 5. Can't recommend. And let me know if you watched it, and let me know what you thought of it if you did watch it. And like, subscribe, most of all, try and enjoy your horror movies.